Hello and welcome to another episode of Fundy Tidings. I'm your host Jay Remer, and I'm particularly happy today to welcome a number of people from Minister's Island, because this talk is going to be about various aspects of the island. Now I'm going to introduce Susan Gertson, who is the tour manager, and Ann Jewett, who is an amazing volunteer, and we're going to talk about a book that has just been reprinted about the island, or related to the island, and it's very exciting. So Susan and Ann, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jay.
So Ann, this I think was a project that you sort of got rolling. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I can tell you the background and sort of how we ended up here we are today talking about it. When I started volunteering at Minister's Island, Susan had told me about this book that was available called Trunks All Aboard, an ABC elephant book. And so I was quite interested in it when she told me a bit of the background. And so I ordered it online. It had been published in 2001, but has since been out of print. So I was amazed when I received it and saw the artistry that was in it. And of course, there was a very nice story that went along with it. And the more I looked at it, I thought we really should make this available to people to understand the significance of the story to Minister's Island. So I would show the book to the guests when they were there, and some of my excitement spilled over, and they always asked, can I buy that book in the gift shop? And unfortunately, I had to say no. So Susan and I got together and we said we should make it happen, and so that's what we did.
Well, I think it's remarkable, and the thing about the book is that it's illustrated completely by Sir William Van Horne himself. So, and I understand you found a lot of the original work in the archives in Toronto, and what is the story behind those?
Okay, so when Sir William Van Horne, when he would travel, he had time in the evenings when he was at his hotel room, and he would draw postcards that he would send to Billy, to his grandson Billy, and they had a sort of a cute agreement between them where he referred to himself as an elephant because he was quite a stout man, and so all of the illustrations are of an elephant doing some form of travel, and these are not just stick pictures. These are very, very well drawn pictures, and they were done in postcards. Billy received them, and then he kept a scrapbook of all of those photos, all of those drawings that he did. And so Billy died when he was 39, and his widow, her name was Billy as well, she had the scrapbook, and so she went and spoke to her niece, and together they decided, I think we should make a book from this, and they contacted a Canadian author. Her name is Barbara Nickel, who has written several children's books, as well as wrote the scripts for Sesame Street for Canada, and received an Emmy nomination. So a very accomplished Canadian author. And so they made the book, and it was published, but then it no longer was in publication.
So Ann, what is it about this book that it was so important to you that you wanted to really see this project through?
I think what really impacted me when I was looking at the book and the pictures, there's a relationship between Sir William and his grandson that is obviously they have a close affection, and obviously have some laughs together. And I think that's a side of Sir William that we never hear about, because he was an astute businessman. I thought it was important to show the relationship between Sir William and his grandson, because it shows a side of him, a really soft side of him, that I don't think people know about. And I thought that was important to show, and this book certainly does that.
I think that's a great point, because he does not have a reputation of being a jolly old, huggy, kissy kind of a guy.
Yes.
So I think that human element is wonderful. Thank you for pointing that out. And Susan, there's going to be a book launch for this amazing reprint. Would you like to tell us about that?
Love to. So there is a book launch. It's on Thursday, June 29th, from 5 till 6. It's at the Windsor House, 132 Water Street. And there'll be free refreshments. At 5:30, there'll be a reading by a gentleman and his grandson, who we're not going to tell you who it is right now, and he will do a reading from the book. There'll also be a chance to mingle. You can buy the books there. If you don't buy a book at that point, you will also still be able to get them at Minister's Island, at our information office downtown, or at the Whale Store.
Wonderful. Well, that's fantastic. I think this has been an amazing project, and I thank you both very much for seeing it through and for coming on the show today and talking about it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay.
Welcome back, and I'd like to now introduce you to Jamie Steele, who is an old friend of mine and of St. Andrews, and certainly of the music program at Minister's Island. Welcome to the show, Jamie. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Jay. Really good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Well, this is really exciting. You know, one of the things about live music is that I think it always sounds better outside. It's just something more natural about it.
Well,
and especially when we're doing with a bluesgrass routine, which is what's happening on Canada Day. And
Canada Day weekend.
Canada Day weekend.
Yes,
that's right. That's right. It's because it's the day after Canada Day,
That's correct.
actually.
Yeah.
So would you like to talk about a little bit about your involvement with music on Minister's Island and this show in particular?
Sure. Yeah. Glad to. I've been presenting shows here in St. Andrews since 1994, I think was my first show, and gradually sort of got into doing things more and more over the years. And it was, I think about 8 years ago that Minister's Island approached me and said they thought it would be a good idea if we could create a summer concert series on the island, help to attract people to the island, give musicians another opportunity to play live music, which is always wonderful. So I agreed and said, sure, it'd be great, because there are innumerable musicians out there who deserve a stage to play on, and Minister's Island is an incredible venue for that. We began to do primarily outdoor concerts, and they have been, I think, very successful over the time, gradually increasing our audience base. Obviously, the pandemic threw us a curveball, but we continued even through the pandemic and have come out of it. And as I mentioned earlier, this will be our 8th season, and I think we've got a great lineup. We already had a show during Paddlefest to sort of open up Minister's Island and to start the concert series. And this show on July 2nd, so Canada Day weekend, will feature Alan Jeffries and Ray Legier, who are two of New Brunswick's best-known bluegrass players. Alan comes from a family of bluegrass players. His father, John Jeffries, is a well-known New Brunswick-based dobro player, and Alan, has been playing, his entire life and attending bluegrass festivals throughout the Maritimes his entire life. He's a wonderfully accomplished finger picker, flat picker in that bluegrass style. He's had a solo career, ECMA award-winning album, Coffee Till Midnight,
wow.
Which won the award a number of years ago. And he has been David Miles' guitar player since David started touring nationally and internationally. So Alan is a well-known face. The name might not be as well-known, but he's certainly, world-class musician. And he's being accompanied by Ray Legier, who, if anybody knows bluegrass, they'll know the name Ray Legier. Ray has released 7 albums of his own, and he has appeared on more than 500 albums.
Wow.
He's as well known in Nashville as he is here in New Brunswick. He has played with, Bill Monroe, who is the father of bluegrass music, Alison Krauss, Just Tony Rich, just an incredible range of internationally known players. Ray has spent time recording with them, playing with them, appearing with them. So these guys appeared last summer, and it was a great foot stomping, toe tapping, finger clap, finger clicking, whatever part of your body you want to move. These guys will make it happen, and really looking forward to having them back. So
I think it sounds like a great lineup and a great evening.
Yeah.
So the concert is going to be in the evening and where on the island exactly will people go?
So traditionally, the last number of years, we've had the concerts outdoors, and knock on wood, we have been pretty successful, actually in the entire 8 years. I think in those 8 years, we've had to cancel 2 concerts because of weather. So we've been very lucky. The concert gods have been good to us. And so we've had those on the lawn at the gardener's cottage. Beautiful location, grass, stage is set up so that everyone's looking across the water towards the St. Andrews Peninsula. Musicians love it because the setting is fantastic. I mean, what a backdrop, what a place to be. So they'll be there on stage. The show starts at 6 p.m., so it's sort of an earlier show, and they run for about an hour. So there's usually time to get enough time to get over across the bar at low tide or as tide is falling, and then no worries. It's time so that you can get off the island as well. So. Yeah.
Well, it sounds great. It really does. Thank you for coming on and talking to us about these shows, and I'm sure we'll have you back to talk about future shows.
Right on. Thanks. No,
Thank you,
really
Jamie.
appreciate it. Yeah.
So now I'd like to welcome Alex Newton, chef at Charn Chowder, and Charlie Bartlett, co-owner at Charn Chowder, to talk about the amazing barbecue event that is going to be taking place on Minister's Island in conjunction with the concert on July 2nd. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
So tell us about this amazing food offering and drinks offering that you're going to be having, because it sounds absolutely fantastic.
What we've done is we've kind of interpreted as much as we can from the musicians that will be playing on that night, and it's a bluegrass band, and so what we've done, what Chef Alex has come up with, is a real barbecue menu to be able to go with that. So he should talk about it.
Yeah, definitely wanted to offer something close to home. You listen to bluegrass music, you want to have that southern kind of feel. So we're gonna do stuff like do a honey mustard smoked brisket. Maybe we'll have some smoked pork, differential from shredded pork. It'll be more like a little heartier version of it. Acadian charred chicken is something I kind of want to do. So we're going to do a nice kind of southern rub on our chicken legs and serving that. And we're going to put a package and call it a char box.
Ah.
Yeah, because we love char and chowder. Like that's our.
Tell us about the word char in Char and Chowder.
Char. So we love grill lines. We love char. We love that burnt kind of smoky flavors that you get from like when you barbecued on a grill to smoking in a smoker to a pizza oven. All that fire and brimstone flavor all going into your food. That's what we love. That's kind of our theme, as well as obviously having chowder. But char is the big. We like seeing the lines. It's in our name and it's in our philosophy as what we do for food.
I think it sounds great. Yeah. And you're going to be offering some interesting drinks, too, I
Yeah,
understand.
What we've done is look at the heritage, if you will, and be a little playful with what's going on Minister's Island and Covenhoven, and William Van Horne, who, of course, was I guess he was the last Spike guy who was standing there in the famous picture, and we're going to have a last Spike, which is a whiskey based with bacon infused in there, and we're playing with that. We're playing with a pretty interesting spritz drink, and we'll have a whole collection of those, even Mary's iced tea, which is, again, William Van Horne's wife. So we're playing with all of that, and we'll have 5 specialty drinks that'll be available that night.
And where will your venue actually be set up? Down near the Gardener's Cottage where the concert is, or where?
We're trying to do a Van Horne. What he would do, he would think innovatively. I hope that's what we're doing. So as you know, the big trailer is up by the tent, which is up by Covenhoven itself. We're going to be running the food down in our little red pickup truck with what are they called again? The
cod holding insulated units to kind of be able to serve out of and get it closer, be able to serve the food closer to the actual concert venue. So
we'll be right in the venue under an awning, and I think it'll work really well. And it'll be so the drinks will be there, and it will be able to offer that right in the venue itself, right up until the show starts. So we'll have that going.
So what time are you going to be offering food over on the island?
So with the tide schedule, we'll be able to get over on the island at 3, so we should be able to have the kitchen food running service by 4:30. Concert starts at 6, so we'll end service right at the concert time, so 4:30 to 6 o'clock will be when we can offer.
And how does one purchase tickets for this?
Yeah, the best way to do that is to go to Minister's Island site, and you'll see right in there that there's an ability to buy a ticket. And what we'd also like to emphasize is you can pre-buy the dinner and have a discount versus what you would get it otherwise on the island itself.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you all for being willing to join forces with Minister's Island and for coming
we're
on.
delighted.
We're thrilled.
Yeah.
Great.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming on the show.
Terrific.
Yeah,
Thank
I look
you.
forward
Thank
to seeing you again. We'll have lots to chat about, no doubt.
Excellent.
Appreciate it.
And now I would like to introduce Andrew Cook, who is a board member, the treasurer, and acting executive director. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thank you, Jay.
It's very exciting things that are going on at Minister's Island, but the two things that we want to talk about now is the new website and the opening of the downtown office. So I'll let you talk about those.
Well, first of all, I should just say why I happen to be in this unfortunate position as being the acting executive director. We did, over the course of the winter, hire a new full-time executive director, but for family reasons, it was necessary for him to leave the area, and he is moving back to Ontario. So the board has decided in its wisdom, and Jay, you are a board member, so you know perfectly well what is happening there, that it's not terribly good to hire a new person in the middle of the season. So they have asked me to take over the role on an acting basis, and I have agreed to do that until the end of the year, and we'll see what transpires from then.
And the board and the membership are grateful for you stepping up to this. It's not a simple task.
Thank you. So you asked about our website. During the course of the winter, we did, in fact, completely redesign our website. We tried to make it more friendly, using more modern technology. And at the same time, we wanted to focus on things that made it easier for the user to buy tickets to come and see us on the island, which of course is the all-important thing. So on the website you can see a number of things. You can certainly see how to buy tickets. You can certainly see a full schedule of concerts that are going to take place during the summer. You can see extensive detail about the history of Minister's Island and the previous inhabitants of Minister's Island, going all the way back to the Passamaquoddy, the indigenous people, and anything you wanted to know. But the most important thing is you can access very quickly how to buy a ticket online, which will help you in terms of moving onto the island during busy periods. When you have the ticket online, you won't have to stop at the booth in order to buy the ticket. You will have to stop at the booth just to show them your ticket, but hopefully it'll make things simpler for everybody.
Yeah, much more efficient, yeah.
Yes, the most important thing I think that is on the website is of course the tide schedule, because as you know, we're only open during periods when the tide is low enough to allow people to drive across the bar and to access the island, and so that somewhat limits the visiting hours, and therefore it's very important for people to look on the website before they set out for Minister's Island and make sure that they're visiting during a period when the island is actually open and the tide does allow access.
Andrew, that's actually a very interesting point that you bring up, and there may be a number of viewers that have they're not clear or understand at all how the island is accessed. So if you want to talk about that, the tide, that would be great.
Well, as we all know, the Bay of Fundy has the largest tides in the world, and they do extend to Passamaquoddy Bay, in which the island is located. And so the tide is low every approximately 6 hours, and the tide is high approximately 6 hours later. And during periods of high tide, the bar, which is the road that crosses from the mainland to the island, is actually under about 14 feet of water. So it's obviously impossible at that stage to drive across or even to access the island unless you have a boat. And so our hours are limited to the period between half tide and half tide on either side of the low tide. And so those hours are published and easily accessible in the website for anyone to pick up and take a look at.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. Yeah, wonderful.
So our website is called Ministers Island, all one word, no apostrophe in there, .net, and it's quite easy to access on Google or any of the other search providers.
Wonderful. I think we'll probably have that on the screen for the viewers.
Good.
So tell me about the downtown office being open and its purpose.
We have had a downtown office for a number of years, and the intention always was to make it a sort of storefront operation so that people can come and buy tickets, find out information about the island, and from our perspective, it's also because many people walk along Water Street, and we have a lot of visitors to St. Andrews, and not all of them are aware of Minister's Island. And the beautiful location we have over there and the various activities and everything. So the plan, as I said, was always to have that open as a storefront location, but then the pandemic got in the way and we just have used it as an office for the past couple of years. But over the course of the winter, we redesigned the inside in order to make it a storefront operation so people can come in, and we're hoping to staff it pretty well full-time hours during the week, and hopefully sometimes on weekends as well. And so they can come in and they can buy tickets. We will have some gift shop items available for them to acquire if they want to, and we will have tour guides available that can tell them anything they need to know about the island, the hours of operation, what they can do on the island. We'll have all the brochures available and so on. And hopefully we will be able to sell them tickets directly there as opposed to getting online.
So, is there an opportunity to buy tickets to the special events like the music events and so forth in the office as well?
Yes, there is, absolutely.
That will be a big difference.
Yes,
yeah, that's great.
There'll be a sandwich board up outside, and there's a big new sign. I know if you've probably seen the sign outside the premises there. They're located on the Water Street side, on the water side of Water Street, I should say, at the Gleason Arms, which is on the corner of William and Water Street. Mm-hmm. And there is a sign up outside, and hopefully there will be somebody inside when you go to visit.
That's great. Andrew, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us about this, and best of luck in your new role for the season only.
Thank you very much, Jay.
It's really monumental, and I think people will really enjoy the results of your efforts. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to tell people about the island.
And thank you for watching the show, and I look forward to seeing you on another episode of Fundy Tidings.